For our next fireside chat, I would like to call up Claire Bara, president of Lassonde Inc. Lassonde's brand Oasis is the 2025 most trusted fruit juice brand, even ahead of a very well-known U.S. juice brand over the past 2 years. Pretty amazing to see that happen. We've seen from the BrandSpark Canadian Trust Study how Oasis has gained trust and gained ground and then surpassed all competitors to have a clear national win. How do you think Oasis accomplished this impressive feat?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me and giving me the opportunity to share our journey with BrandSpark and Oasis. Before I answer your question, I'd like to thank all of our employees, because in this prize, there's a little bit of all of them. I wish I could have invited 1,400 people in this room, but it would have been a little bit tight. But I want to mention... Next year, maybe. And you mentioned it, Oasis has been a brand for over 50 years. And BrandSpark has been doing this research in over a decade. So what happened suddenly for us to win this brand? Was it by accident, by luck, because we did a mistake in their research? Absolutely not. And this is really the result of a 2-year-long piece of work we've been doing at Lassonde. I joined the company in 2019. And the first piece of work that we've done with led by marketing was to do 4 things. First, we revisit our brand promises, because over the year, Oasis grew, but we were not sure anymore what the brand stood for. So we did a very exhaustive piece of work around that. The second thing we did is we look at a brand portfolio. Over the year, Oasis has created many sub-brands, many SKUs. But at one point, we really wonder, is it all necessary? Is it still clear for the Canadian consumers? So as we establish our brand promise, we look at all of the sub-brands, all of the SKUs, and we did a big optimization work, resulting in a lot of change. That's step number 2. The third step we've done, sometimes it happened with brands that have been on the market for a long time, they could look a little bit outdated. So we look at the imagery, the packaging. But the trick is the brand is super well known in Canada. So we didn't want to do a revolution. We didn't have an issue, but we wanted to make it more modern, more actual. And we've done that with our agency LG2 in Quebec. And the last, and I think it's a critical piece in our work, has been to develop an important marketing campaign to communicate our new brand, our new imagery, because all of this needed to be properly communicated. And even though I mentioned it was a collective effort, because everybody, you can think of R&D, quality, manufacturing, supply chain, marketing, sales, everybody was involved. But the one team that led the marketing campaign, specifically, was the marketing. And I want to call upon specifically our marketing team and Marion Desnoyers. Marion has been our national lead on the Oasis brand. And this is the result of all of this, which started in 2019, that enabled us to win for the first time in our history and be a huge brand to be trusted brand, to be voted most trusted brand. And we've now been able to do it 3 years in a row. So we're very happy with that.
It's amazing. Yeah, no, it's an incredible accomplishment. We've seen one other Quebec brand, which was also interesting, and that was Fontaine Santé for hummus, which also kind of superseded, was, competing strong in Quebec and then started to be strong with Sabra nationally, then take over. So it's kind of cool when you have Quebec brands that do it. And why is consumer trust so important to your organization?
So consumer trust is, I make a parallel. Trust is important to a brand like trust is important for a person, and it takes time to build and it can be destroyed quite quickly. I have a very simple definition of trust. For me, it's just deliver what you promise. That's true for an individual, that's true for a brand. And the fact that we reestablish our brand promise and our pillars around quality, freshness, joy, variety, enable us to be very clear about what we wanted to deliver every time. So no matter where in Canada, what store, what part of a day, what SKU you're going to pick up, if it's an Oasis brand, you're going to live that experience. So that's what we've done. And why is it important? Because in a world of multiple choice, it helps consumer ease with their selection. And there's a clear correlation between repeat buying and conversion. So for us, that's why it's so important.
And I can tell just from our interactions, again, leading up to this, how you embody that with your own personality. And I imagine within your team that it's a very much an appreciated quality that I got to witness a little bit myself, even in getting ready for this presentation. How have you decided to leverage the trust credential in your marketing and advertising?
Well, first of all, just like Nuno say, the biggest impact was internally. incredible. We we spent a lot of work communicating, of course, marketing, sales, but I'm touring all of our plants in Canada. I'm meeting all of our plant employees. And for them, you could see the sense of pride because they've been involved. When you decide to redo the packaging of hundreds of SKUs, there's a lot of change in the plant. And so really, internally, it's a huge pride that we don't take for granted, but it's a victory that we celebrated a lot and communicated a lot. Now, how do we leverage it? We put it everywhere. It's on our website, the retailer website, on a flyer, in-store POS. We just did a new campaign, TV, and we put it at the end. So for us, it's really an important element. And to be honest, we're doing survey in Canada. We're surveying 1,000 of Canadian ourselves every year. And we've seen the shift. We've seen all the KPI from the brand awareness, appreciation, and PS. Everything was going up. So, of course, we were sharing that. But when you have an external or third entity company that we have nothing to do with is bringing that claim, it's so much stronger. So it's something we're using, but we don't. Trust is not a pillar of our promise. We got a pillar established, freshness, quality, variety, joy. But the fact that we are delivering consistently those pillars is giving us the trust for the consumer. So that's how we relate to it and we leverage it.
Cool. You did mention retailers. Have you found that this helps you with the sell-in to retailers? Because again, there seems to be so much pressure these days with retailers, with shelf space, with their own private label brands. We hear a lot from brands that, sometimes they got to, reestablish because, the retailers will say, well, we only have room for one or two brands and why should we pick your brand? So have you found that to be valuable?
So to be honest, with retailer, it's not the number one criteria. The first thing, your brand needs to perform. You need to grow volume, grow market share, have effective promotion, bring traffic to the store. That's the first thing they're going to look at. But if you do that, and we do, and you add the brand spark recognition, it's a winning combination.
So thank you for sharing it. Thank you for coming in. Thank you for working with us. And merci beaucoup.
Thank you.